and some breaking ground here as well in terms of how we're thinking about the right use cases for AI and what we're doing. How much is that transforming the industry from your perspective right now?
Well, I think it's kind of an interesting point because it opens up amazing possibilities, right? Whether you're looking at it from being able to aggregate external data and information to make decisions, if you're talking about it from the perspective of building an agentic network that then can go do the decisioning, right? So you'd have AI that can get you visibility, then you have kind of the decisioning layer on top of that. And the ability to aggregate and normalize data from multiple sources, which has typically been one of the biggest obstacles when you talk about a traditional control tower application. So I think there's a lot of really interesting use cases and applications and direction for it. But at the same time, a lot of our clients are struggling to figure out, yeah, I hear that, but what does it really mean? And how do I get started? How do I start to move towards that? Honestly, some of our clients are just skeptical that they'll actually see the benefits. And so a lot of clients are taking kind of a slower approach with a proof of concept. Let's go build it, iterate it several times, right? Which we can do fairly quickly, but be able to iterate it and say, okay, now I'm starting to see the benefit. How can we scale it from there?
And it is this sort of trade-off of, fully democratized technology, access to everyone, low barrier of entry, super exciting. But I hear, we hear that a lot as well. But where do we start? And what
Mhm.
does that first step look like? And then there is that, we are in the middle of Amara's law, right? Whereby there's still a lot of naysaying in terms of benefit. And then at the same time, you're hearing, well, 40% of white collar jobs will be gone in the next 3 years. And it's very difficult to find the true balance of what this means, other than it's probably one of the biggest transformational opportunities that we've had, certainly for supply chain, in my lifetime in supply chain. So as you're talking through that conversation, where do you see that companies are getting excited? Is it forecasting and planning? Is it the TMS environment? Is it like where are companies starting to see some success, and where are people most focused?
So a lot of the focus really is in forecasting and planning, and also some of the more, like vendor management, contract management, things like that. But really, forecasting and planning, because I don't want to say none of it is straightforward, right? But if I think about that compared to orchestrating operations within a four wall of a distribution center, or aggregating a lot of external data sources through a TMS, particularly if it's not my own fleet, right? If I'm using common carriers and that kind of thing, of how do I get the data aggregated? So that the forecasting and planning is a pretty robust area of interest, procurement as well. And on the kind of the logistics side of it, it really is, as I mentioned, kind of on the transportation piece, whether we have a TMS or not, whether it's my own fleet or somebody's in the back room dialing for diesels, trying to coordinate everything. Some use cases around there, some of it around information of accessibility, right? So the ability to use LLMs and just query, where is this shipment, or what's the status of this? But also when it comes to scheduling and coordinating, whether it's inbound receipt, outbound pickups, and how does that tie in with any, warehouse or fulfillment operations as well, is using agents to manage a lot of those kinds of things as well.
Right.